There comes a moment in your life when you realize nobody is coming to save you. No miracle, no lucky break, no sudden rescue. Just you, standing in front of the life you've built and the life you still dream about. And the question hits you like cold wind. Am I willing to start? Even if it's small. Even if nobody notices. Because every mountain you've ever admired was once a single falling snowflake. That's the snowball effect of personal growth. Tiny actions that turn into unstoppable momentum. Personal growth doesn't explode into your life all at once. It begins quietly, in the discipline nobody sees, in the choices no one understands, in the sacrifices people laugh at. But your growth builds like snowballs. Every small step packs onto the last one. Every habit layers itself. Every choice compounds until suddenly, you don't recognize the old version of yourself anymore. The world keeps telling you to wait for motivation, but motivation fades. Discipline stays. The world tells you success is luck, but luck follows consistency and faith. Faith is what you hold when results are still invisible, when your snowball is still just a handful of cold, shaky effort. But here's the truth. Once your growth starts rolling downhill, nothing can stop it. Not doubt, not fear, not delay, not your past, not your mistakes. Because momentum belongs to those who choose to build it. Your mission from today is simple: start small. Stay consistent. Build relentlessly. Let your habits grow heavier, faster, stronger, until they crush every excuse in their path. This is how success works. This is how confidence builds. This is how lives transform. If you're listening to this right now, it's because something in you knows it's time. Time to lean into discipline. Time to sharpen your mindset. Time to stop waiting and start building. Your snowball starts today. And if you're ready for motivation, discipline, faith, and a success mindset every single day, subscribe now. Join a community that doesn't just dream. We grow, we build, we rise. Growth begins quietly, often in ways that nobody notices, in moments so small and ordinary that they seem insignificant at the time. It is waking up before the rest of the world, choosing to read, to study, to improve, to push your mind and body when comfort is calling. It is showing up when you feel tired, when distractions tempt you to quit, when failure whispers that it's easier to give up. These moments are invisible to everyone else, and that is exactly why they matter the most, because the seeds of transformation are planted in solitude, in effort unseen, in decisions that no one applauds, and yet they accumulate silently. Every choice you make to act, to practice, to learn, to resist a bad habit, or to adopt a better one is another layer being added to the foundation of your future self. Growth does not make noise, and it does not demand attention, but it is happening relentlessly, silently, under the radar, shaping the person you are becoming, reinforcing your skills, your resilience, your discipline. When others see your progress later, it looks sudden, almost miraculous, but in truth, it is the result of countless small efforts that went unnoticed, unnoticed by your peers, unnoticed by your friends, unnoticed even by yourself at first. And yet those efforts compound with astonishing power, building momentum that grows faster and faster until your new abilities, your new mindset, and your new confidence cannot be ignored, until suddenly the world catches up with what you have been quietly building all along. And the person who shows up at that moment is not the person who started, but someone stronger, wiser, and prepared, because the quiet, Invisible work was relentless, consistent, and uncompromising, because growth begins quietly, and the real magic is that the snowball you start small, unseen, and unnoticed eventually rolls down the hill and gathers speed, size, and unstoppable force. Small actions may seem insignificant when taken alone, barely a ripple in the vast ocean of your life. But they carry a hidden power that grows over time, because every action, no matter how tiny, sets in motion a chain reaction that compounds and multiplies, quietly reshaping your reality and building momentum you cannot yet see. Each step forward, each decision to act instead of wait, each commitment to improve yourself adds weight to your snowball. And with each layer, it becomes harder to stop, harder to ignore, and unstoppable in its accumulation. Consistency is the secret force that transforms these small, seemingly meaningless efforts into massive change, because, like the first snowflake that begins to roll down a hill, one small habit triggers another, one small victory creates belief in the next, and gradually the energy of these repeated actions begins to move you faster, farther, and higher than you ever imagined. Momentum is the reward for persistence, and it is invisible at first, like the hidden gears turning under a machine. Working tirelessly in silence, unseen by others, and sometimes even by yourself, yet indispensable in the transformation of your life. When you continue to take small, deliberate actions day after day, week after week, month after month, the cumulative effect is staggering, because time amplifies every choice, every effort, every act of discipline until the results appear sudden, dramatic, and undeniable. But they are built on a foundation of countless tiny, unnoticed steps that no one else witnessed. Understanding the snowball effect means embracing patience and faith, knowing that your actions are never wasted, that every effort counts, and that even when the results seem invisible, the momentum is building, growing in strength, gaining size and speed, and the day will come when your small actions are no longer small, when your dedication, persistence, and faith converge into unstoppable growth that propels you forward, unstoppable, unshakable, and unstoppable, because small actions compound, creating momentum that changes everything, and nothing can reverse the power of what has been consistently built. Discipline is the backbone of personal growth, the quiet force that keeps you moving forward when motivation fades, when inspiration feels distant, or when the world tells you to wait for the perfect moment, because motivation is fleeting, unpredictable, and unreliable. A spark that burns bright for a moment and then disappears, leaving you cold and unprepared. Whereas discipline does not rely on feeling. It relies on commitment, on choice, on showing up even when it is difficult, inconvenient, or exhausting. Discipline is waking up early to work on your craft, when your bed feels warm and comforting, choosing to practice, to study, to build skills even when you do not feel like it, and continuing the work day after day, repetition after repetition, regardless of immediate results. It is choosing the long-term benefits over short-term pleasure, resisting distractions, delaying gratification, and pushing through discomfort, because you understand that growth does not occur in comfort zones, that excellence is forged in persistence, and that every small disciplined action compounds into progress that becomes unstoppable over time. When motivation dies, discipline carries you, and it transforms small, consistent efforts into a snowball effect that grows larger, heavier, and faster, gaining momentum that cannot be easily stopped. Discipline is not glamorous, and it is not always celebrated, but it is the foundation upon which habits, skills, and achievements are built, and without it, even the brightest ideas, the most passionate dreams, and the strongest motivation will fade before they bear fruit. The people who achieve greatness are not those who feel inspired every day. They are those who choose to act, to persist, to endure, and to maintain consistency even when they do not feel like it. Understanding that the real work is invisible, relentless, and accumulative, and that every act of discipline, no matter how small, contributes to a larger momentum that transforms your life, shapes your character, and builds the unstoppable snowball of personal growth that eventually changes everything. Because discipline is not temporary. It is the force that outlasts motivation, outlasts doubt, and outlasts fear. Faith is the quiet, unshakable belief in yourself and in the process of growth, even when nothing around you confirms that you are moving forward. Even when results are invisible and progress feels painfully slow, because it is faith that keeps you taking action when doubt is loud, when setbacks threaten to stop you, and when the world seems indifferent to your efforts. And without it, discipline alone can feel hollow, like working tirelessly, without a purpose or direction. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, the invisible thread that connects small efforts to future success, the confidence that every choice, every sacrifice, every moment of persistence contributes to a larger momentum that you may not yet see, but that is building nonetheless. Like a snowball rolling silently down a hill, gaining size, speed, and force with every turn. It is believing in your potential when others question it, trusting the process when immediate feedback is absent, and holding steady when fear whispers that you are not enough, that your goals are impossible, or that your hard work will never pay off, because faith is not blind. It is grounded in the understanding that consistent effort, compounded over time, inevitably produces results. Faith fuels patience, courage, and resilience, giving you the strength to continue when motivation wanes, when progress is invisible, and when setbacks threaten to derail you, because it transforms uncertainty into opportunity, fear into action, and hesitation into momentum. It allows you to embrace the journey rather than demand instant results, to trust that the small, deliberate steps you take today are accumulating unseen energy that will eventually burst forth into visible transformation. And it reminds you that the snowball effect of personal growth is not dependent on immediate validation, but on persistence, belief, and the unrelenting confidence that your efforts matter, that your journey is building, that your future self is being shaped, and that every action you take in faith contributes to unstoppable momentum that cannot be reversed. Success is not the result of luck, chance, or random opportunity. It is the inevitable outcome of consistent, deliberate actions taken over time, compounded into unstoppable momentum. Because while luck may appear to favor some, it never replaces the relentless power of consistency, preparation, and persistence. And the truth is that the people who achieve extraordinary results are not the ones who wait for fortune to smile upon them, but the ones who show up every day, even when the odds seem stacked against them, and take action regardless of the obstacles. Success is built incrementally, brick by brick, habit by habit, choice by choice, with every small decision to act reinforcing the next, and over weeks, months, and years, those decisions accumulate into a snowball that grows heavier, faster, and more powerful until it cannot be ignored, until it carries you forward with momentum that seems unstoppable. The idea of luck is seductive because it gives people an excuse to remain passive, to wait for an external force to change their lives. But real success demands accountability, discipline, and a commitment to consistency that cannot be delegated or outsourced. Every effort you make to improve yourself, to learn new skills, to stretch beyond comfort, to show up when it is difficult, and to persist in the face of setbacks, is an investment that compounds quietly over time, forming a foundation of ability, confidence, and resilience that no one can take away. This is why success rarely comes in sudden bursts. It arrives as the natural consequence of repeated, intentional actions that build momentum beyond what is immediately visible. People who understand the snowball effect know that patience is not passive waiting, but active persistence, and that every small action matters, because the energy invested today becomes the force that propels tomorrow. The world may admire results, but it is discipline, faith, and relentless consistency that create them, and each step, no matter how small, adds weight, velocity, and inevitability to your growth, until the cumulative impact cannot be denied. Success is not a coincidence. It is the outcome of deliberate choices, repeated over time with unwavering commitment, and the more consistent you are, the larger your snowball grows, gathering speed, size, and force, until what once seemed impossible is no longer a dream, but reality. Because success is the reward of those who understand that their growth compounds, that every effort matters, that every habit contributes, and that the snowball of personal development, once set in motion, becomes unstoppable, undeniable, and transformative, shaping a life that reflects the relentless accumulation of disciplined action, faith, and unyielding consistency. Your past and your mistakes cannot stop the momentum of growth once it begins, because the snowball effect does not care about where you have been, only about the energy you are willing to invest today, tomorrow, and the next day. And it is tempting to believe that failures define you, that missed opportunities, wrong choices, and setbacks are permanent chains that will hold you back forever. But this is a lie that keeps many people trapped in regret, fear, and inaction, while the truth is that growth is forward, looking, cumulative, and relentless, and every new action has the power to override what came before, if you commit to consistency and belief in yourself. Mistakes are inevitable. They are part of the human experience, unavoidable signposts that teach, redirect, and strengthen your understanding of what works and what doesn't. But they only gain power over you if you give them that power, if you allow fear, shame, or self-doubt to paralyze your next move. Because momentum is built not by avoiding failure, but by refusing to let it stop you. By taking each setback as data, adjusting your course, and continuing to roll the snowball forward. The people who achieve lasting growth are not those who never fail. They are the ones who persist, who rise, who learn, and who use every challenge as fuel to increase the size, speed, and weight of their snowball. Knowing that the accumulation of consistent effort cannot be undone by temporary mistakes. Every effort you make compounds, every choice matters, and once your momentum begins, it begins to shape your future regardless of your past. Because momentum once started is self-reinforcing. It builds velocity, attracts opportunities, and strengthens your resolve. And no error from yesterday can diminish the energy of today's persistent action. Understanding that your snowball of growth cannot be stopped by your past allows you to embrace challenges without fear, take risks without hesitation, and step boldly into the unknown, because the power lies in forward motion, in consistency, and in the understanding that your mistakes are temporary, but the snowball you are building is permanent in its accumulation. Every step, every habit, every act of discipline layers on top of the last, growing stronger with time, and the more you commit to continuous action, the larger, faster, and more unstoppable your snowball becomes, until you're past your regrets. And your failures are no longer obstacles, but distant memories overshadowed by the undeniable force of your relentless forward growth. Because once momentum begins, nothing that happened before can reverse it, and your snowball will continue to grow, to gain power, to roll unimpeded, transforming your life in ways you could never have imagined. Starting small is not a weakness, and it is not a sign that you lack ambition or vision. In fact, it is the most powerful way to begin the journey of personal growth, because every massive transformation in history began with one small action, one tiny choice, one seemingly insignificant effort. And yet, these small beginnings carry within them the seed of exponential growth that can become unstoppable over time, if nurtured with consistency, discipline, and faith. The world often glorifies dramatic breakthroughs, instant success, and overnight transformations, but these are illusions, exceptions that distract us from the real work that actually builds lasting change, which is incremental, cumulative, and deliberate. Starting small allows you to focus on the process, rather than the pressure of immediate results, to develop habits without becoming overwhelmed, and to build confidence as you prove to yourself that progress is possible, because every small victory reinforces belief, motivation, and momentum, setting the stage for larger accomplishments. When you start small, you remove the fear of failure, because the stakes are manageable. You reduce the burden of perfectionism, because you are not trying to achieve everything at once, and you allow yourself the space to experiment, learn, and adjust without catastrophic consequences. Each step you take, each habit you form, each skill you practice, no matter how tiny it seems in the moment, compounds over days, weeks, months, and years, layering upon itself like the snowball gathering mass and speed as it rolls down a hill. And eventually, the accumulation of these small actions creates an unstoppable force that propels you forward faster than you ever imagined. Starting small also trains your mind and body to embrace consistency, resilience, and patience, which are the essential ingredients of growth. Because it is not the size of your first action that matters most, but the fact that you begin and that you continue, understanding that momentum is created through repetition, effort, and persistence. The fear of starting, the doubt that you are not ready, and the urge to wait for the perfect moment are illusions that keep you stagnant. But every great achiever knows that perfection is a myth, and progress begins the moment you decide to take action, no matter how small. When you start small, you also give yourself the freedom to refine, improve, and build incrementally, allowing your snowball of growth to gain strength, speed, and size naturally without forcing it or burning out in the process. The courage to start, even with a tiny step, is more powerful than waiting for inspiration, resources, or validation, because it sets in motion the compounding effect of personal growth, creating momentum that cannot be reversed. And as you continue to act, the small beginnings become significant achievements. The small habits become powerful routines, and the small snowball you started rolls forward into an unstoppable force, transforming your skills, your mindset, your opportunities, and ultimately, your entire life. Proving that starting small is not a limitation, but the gateway to extraordinary growth, and that the journey of 1,000 miles truly begins with a single step taken with courage, consistency, an unwavering belief in the process of building, expanding, and growing relentlessly. You must choose to build your snowball daily because personal growth does not happen by accident. And it does not wait for perfect circumstances, ideal conditions, or external validation, because the snowball of transformation only gains size, speed, and momentum through deliberate, consistent action taken each and every day. And the decision to act is the most powerful choice you can make, because it determines whether your efforts compound into unstoppable growth or dissipate into nothingness. Growth is cumulative, and every single day presents an opportunity to add mass to your snowball, to layer discipline, effort, and faith on top of what you built yesterday, to refine your skills, to strengthen your habits, and to expand your mindset. And yet so many people allow days to pass without conscious effort, believing that one missed day does not matter, failing to realize that the snowball effect relies on consistency, and that the force of momentum is built by accumulation, not by occasional bursts of inspiration. Choosing to build your snowball daily requires intention. It demands that you prioritize your growth over comfort, over distractions, over fear, and over the endless excuses that try to convince you to wait, to pause, to settle, because every decision you make, every action you take, either adds weight and speed to your snowball, or allows it to lose energy and momentum. And the difference between an unstoppable force and stagnation is often just the sum of small, consistent actions repeated day after day. Daily growth is not glamorous, and it is not always visible. It is the repetition of habits, the disciplined practice of skills, the persistence in the face of setbacks, and the quiet cultivation of mindset that eventually lead to transformation. And even when you do not see immediate results, every effort contributes to the snowball's growth, adding power that compounds over time until the momentum becomes undeniable, unstoppable, and irreversible. Choosing to build daily also means embracing patience and long-term thinking. Understanding that extraordinary results do not appear overnight, and that every challenge, failure, and struggle is an opportunity to strengthen the snowball, to make it heavier, faster, and more resilient, because momentum rewards persistence, and the compounding effect of consistent effort cannot be reversed by setbacks, doubts, or temporary obstacles. To choose to build your snowball daily is to commit to yourself, to your vision, and to the understanding that growth is a process, not an event, and that your future self is shaped by the actions you take today, the habits you form, and the consistency you maintain. Because momentum is a force that grows exponentially, and small actions, when repeated with focus and intention, create unstoppable energy that reshapes your skills, your mindset, your opportunities, and ultimately your life. Each day presents a decision to act or to wait, to push forward or to remain passive. And those who choose action create a compounding effect that accelerates over time, turning small beginnings into massive transformations. Because when you choose to build daily, You control the accumulation of power, energy, and momentum, ensuring that your snowball grows in size, speed, and force, unstoppable in its progress, and as you maintain this commitment over weeks, months, and years, the snowball becomes a force of nature, capable of overcoming obstacles, breaking through limitations, and propelling you toward the life you are meant to create, proving that consistency, intentionality, and the daily choice to act are the ultimate drivers of personal growth, and that the most powerful transformations come not from luck, talent, or sudden inspiration, but from the deliberate, unrelenting, daily accumulation of effort, faith, discipline, and belief. Because when you choose to build your snowball every single day, you create momentum that cannot be stopped, energy that cannot be reversed, and growth that cannot be ignored, shaping a life that reflects the unstoppable power of consistent, committed, daily action, and ensuring that your snowball of personal growth becomes an unstoppable force, moving faster, growing larger, and achieving results far beyond what anyone could have imagined at the start. And so, the snowball of personal growth is not a distant dream or a fleeting chance. It is a force you create with every choice, every habit, every disciplined action, and every moment of faith, and once it begins to roll, nothing can stop it. Because the momentum you build compounds relentlessly, transforming small efforts into massive results, turning doubt into confidence, fear into courage, and dreams into reality. And the life you have always imagined is waiting not for luck, not for permission, but for the day you decide to start. The day you commit to consistency, the day you let your snowball roll and never stop. Knowing that growth is inevitable for those who act, relentless for those who persist, and unstoppable for those who believe.